Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, happy to tell you about CropSafe. So there's myself, my co-founder Mihal. We grew up in small farms here in Ireland, and right now, small jobs on your farm, such as interpreting data or applying for insurance and finance, is kind of still a process that's like dozens of notes and post-it notes and in-branch visits to these banks down in the town. And we believe existing software is still a bit too complex. It's fragmented and it's time consuming for the average grower to efficiently make use of. It takes weeks of processes and onboarding. But we believe this shouldn't be the case. So we built CropSafe, and what CropSafe does is it allows growers to create alerts on the health and condition of their field. It's all monitored remotely through satellites and weather station data from across the world. So in the background, we aggregate and fuse remote weather station and satellite data from the likes of NASA, the European Space Agency, and dozens of other suppliers. And we provide farmers with more accurate and actionable steps on what they can exactly do to improve their yield, rather than Excel sheets and tables of numbers they have to read. With CropSafe, we've found with the data that we collect and process, over time, we can start to pinpoint key bottlenecks on the farm, whether that be something like capital or something as simple as just resources for the farm. We see our alert and monitor products kind of more as a spearhead to follow through with tailored instant financing and insurance products. So imagine if one day you could sort your insurance, your financing for your farm, all on your mobile phone in less than 2 minutes, all pre-approved for you, without the dozens of Excel sheets and going to the bank and paperwork and phone calls and all this hassle that shouldn't really be necessary. Imagine how much time you could save. And that's what we're making possible with CropSafe. Over the next year, we've got pretty big plans. We're planning to roll out to 5,000 farms across the US, deliver over 500,000 data reports to our customers, and ingest 1 billion data points across farms across the US over the next 12 months with our integration partners. We currently have an oversubscribed seed round. We're intending on closing actually in the next few days. And if there's anybody in the audience interested in chatting, we're also looking for a few strategic angels to bring on board this week actually, along on our journey. And that's what we're building on CropSafe, and appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, John. Great pitch. My dad's family are farmers in India. Actually,
Wow.
Have a farm there.
Awesome.
Curious about what kinds, are there any specific kinds of crops or farms or sizes of crops that what's the ideal customer for you guys?
Right now, we're still doing a lot of experimentation, figuring out who's the ideal customer. But what seems to be working quite well right now is kind of mid-sized family farms, especially across the US, that usually have about 4 or 5 employees or so. That just seems to be what customers save the most time using our product.
How do you reach them?
Yeah, that is a difficult thing you have to figure out with ag-tech. But right now, we're working on a top-down kind of distribution system, working with providers such as co-ops that already have these pools of like 200, 300 or so family farms underneath them, just going directly to the top up and then going downwards instead of kind of going to each individual farmer individually, which is quite difficult.
And so is the idea that you have eyes on these farms, you're providing useful data to the farmers, and then that gives you a platform to be able to also sell future products, or to be able to is the idea that you use that data, you become sort of like a two-sided marketplace for the farmers to get other products? Or I wonder if you could talk a little bit more. You had one slide that seemed, I wonder if you could explain it a little bit.
Yeah, so our main product is that marketplace feature. So those alerts and monitors that we tell our farmers, hey, there's predicted blight coming in the next 2 weeks, or there's predicted heavy rainfall, and you should prepare for this. The second part of the product is that insurance and finance product. So take, for example, we're predicting a drought in the next 2 months. What we can do with our software is start to recommend certain insurance products or certain financing products that can help that farmer prepare for that actual situation. So there's kind of a two-sided piece to the marketplace, what's exactly happening right now and what you can do to fix it, which is the financing and upsell products.
Okay, and is the image processing, so you're getting data from a lot of, you're getting data from satellite sources and weather, and then is the image processing and all of that or you're processing that data, is that sort of the proprietary part?
Right, exactly. So CropSafe, the way I like to describe CropSafe is kind of like a bucket in a way. We have these dozens of different data suppliers that just pour more data and more data into this bucket. And CropSafe sort of acts as like an interpretation engine for our farmers. So they don't have to look at all this data and all these pieces. We just process it through our models and our algorithms and just spit out something that actually makes sense rather than another Excel sheet for them to look at.
Okay, that makes sense. And the other area where I've seen sort of satellite powered data being useful for farms is sort of in conjunction with equipment, farming equipment, them being the other, big like source who's selling into these same farms. Do you work with them in any way, or do you interoperate with them, like tractors or weed pulling? Like I've seen robotic companies that are doing all sorts of things along those lines. How does that fit the system?
Yeah, so the way we've actually built CropSafe is sort of like an open marketplace in a way that others can build on top of CropSafe, build another module. So say like a tractor, so say John Deere, for example, launches a new tractor and you can program different pieces. They can build modules on top of CropSafe to connect that piece of equipment to CropSafe. So something that we already have within the platform is allowing farmers to use their satellite maps. They can push their satellite maps into their tractor routes and be able to variably adjust their spraying depending on different parts of their field based off the satellite image. So yeah, it is possible and kind of another roadmap item for us.
Really cool. And what's the cost for that small size farm that you mentioned, like on an annual basis?
Cost to us or cost to them?
How much would they expect to pay, say per year?
Right. Yeah, so we don't believe kind of charging a SaaS model is a scalable way to kind of branch into this finance insurance. We think the data we collect from these farmers early on is more valuable in a way that branching into those insurance and finance products rather than kind of create a friction barrier of charging the farmers and collecting less data. So that's our approach to that.
So it's free for the farmers to use?
Right.
Oh, great. Okay. That definitely helps with user acquisition.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Really interested to see. And are there any regions you don't cover, or are you mostly focused on the US and Europe?
Our software works pretty much anywhere on the planet, but we're kind of have a strong focus on the US right now. That's just where we're planning to scale.
Good luck in the US launch.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.